They say after you spend some time in Vegas, you get Elvis lip.
They lied.
Live from Madison, Wisconsin, it's Elvis Island.
Hey. On a serious note,
God.
good evening. Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Tonight, well, we're talking SHOT Show 2019. And it's balmy here in Wisconsin. Dare I say.
What was the temperature in Vegas?
50s and 60s.
Oh, it's like North Carolina.
Yep, I wore shorts Wednesday and Thursday last week. So, or not Wednesday, Thursday, but Tuesday, Wednesday. However, currently here in Madison, it is -6.
Oh.
With a wind chill of -21.
No wonder you had to put a jacket on.
I have a jacket, I have a heater, I have a stocking hat and gloves and a heavier jacket over there. I have warm socks and winter boots on. Because in the garage currently, it is 41.9 degrees. And we just lost Travis. No, we lost Travis. Where'd he go? He must be having computer issues again. Anyway. So. How's everybody been? What's everybody been doing?
I've actually gotten a few things done, but you guys go ahead.
Well, you had 2 weeks, so yeah.
Jim might have actually gotten more done reloading than I have the last 2 weeks because I have been pretty much working and working and working without pay, which is always fun.
I was going to ask you about that, but I don't think we want to get too political.
We won't get political. Needless to say, I'm a civilian federal employee. I have been working myself like a slave for free for several weeks. I've gotten absolutely nothing done at reloading or guns or anything else because I've been both too busy and too tired and too broke.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually got a few things done. Last time I told you guys, I actually worked for 4 hours on a Sunday evening in the garage, and then I took sick. That was 3 weeks ago. And you guys heard my voice.
It was an improvement.
I'll say it again, Phil. Screw you. Anyway, no, I actually got the wall cleared where I'm going to put my bench. I got all the crates out of the way, got the gun safe out of the way, and I just now, tonight, managed to take and get the foam board, foil-backed foam board installation on the wall where I'm going to set my bench. I'm going to protect the wall. I'm going to set up a piece of OSB tomorrow and screw it on it. Problem was I had to find where the studs are. Anytime you put up a wall or anything, I swear to God, you should mark the floor and the ceiling where the studs are. But anyway, long story made short, I got the foam board up. I used those cap nails I had to buy, and I found the studs, and well, I actually made a little bit of progress tonight. 15, 20 minutes of progress on that. But also, I know Mike doesn't put video up for the podcast because we don't do a video podcast. We just do live on YouTube. But I'm holding up a DVD titled Precision Long Range Shooting and Hunting. And it's by a gentleman out of the UK. And he literally gave me the DVD, and he literally gave me the book titled the same exact book, except it's got the circle number 4 on it. And he asked me to tell me what I thought of it. Tell him what I thought. I am going through it, and I will tell you guys, I've been I'm all the way up to the segment on cartridge length, and each segment's about 5 minutes long. So I guess we're looking at probably 40 minutes of material so far that I've covered, and it's good, solid information, guys. It's good, solid information. It's basically what we've been saying in the Reloading podcast for a while. But this guy's got it on pen and put it down on paper and ink, and of course on video. And it's like Ammo Smith on YouTube refined. And Ammo Smith, he ain't no slouch when it comes to reloading and all like that. The one issue I did have with what Mr. Holland said in the first place was that he advises new reloaders to not use range pickup brass for developing loads. It makes sense if you stop and think about it. I had an issue with it, but I thought it was overkill. But I'm an experienced reloader, and I was looking at it from that point of view. I know how to check my brass. I know how to see it, look for case neck splits. I know how to look for body splits and all that sort of thing. And well, I just thought it was overkill. But thinking about it again, when I bought my 280 Remington Ackley Improved, when I got it all set up, I did the same thing. He advises from a safety point of view to use new brass only. Buy at least 100 rounds of new brass, all the same caliber, same manufacturer. Segregate your cases by weight. Segregate your cases by case capacity. Thank you, Jeremy Rowland. And he also advises to segregate everything by 0.2 of a grain. But anyway, it's all good, solid hand loading advice, not reloading advice. Precision rifle hand loading. The guy knows these onions, I'll tell you that. You can tell an onion from an apple, that's for sure. So I kind of like it so far. And you guys know me well. You guys have followed the podcast long enough to know that if Jim doesn't like something, Jim's going to tell you what, and he doesn't give a. He doesn't care who likes it and who doesn't. And that's probably why we don't have any sponsors other than the Patreons. Because Mike and Jason and I believe in telling things like we see it. Simple as that. Let's see here. Let me look at the notes real quick to see what I got. Okay, got that.
In all honesty, the main reason we don't have any is because I haven't really bothered to pursue any. Some of it's for that reason. But there's a lot of companies out there that if they do sponsor, then
they expect you to sing the company song.
Well, there's a lot of companies like that, but there are quite a few companies out there that do appreciate honesty. If you look at like We Like Shooting, for example, that's one of the things that they talk about with their sponsors before they ever, become a sponsor is, hey, we're going to call it like it is no matter what. Now, also, they don't just take anybody for a sponsor, so they have to have a relationship and believe in the products in the first place, which is something that we've, kind of thought of the same thing, but I just really haven't pursued getting any sort of corporate sponsorship. So.
Well, Mike, you know that I've approached a few people, but I don't have the wherewithal you do as far as that goes. I've approached 2 or 3 different reloading companies, and well, we never had anybody take the bait.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I mean the thing that a lot of people don't even think about is beyond the managing your own content and maintaining your own credentials in the face of an advertiser may want to have input into the show. That's a time investment to go hunt down advertisers from my own experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of podcasters, and I can't say if this was your motivation, Mike, but it certainly has been mine with my own show. A lot of podcasters just look at the amount of running around and the amount of time investment necessary to pursue advertisers, and they would rather put that into content.
Yeah.
They'd rather put that into content and developing show topics and developing relationships with guests. They'd rather spend the time making the show better. Some shows have a little bit bigger staff or have a little bit more. They have the ability to do both. But like for my show and this show, these are smaller shows. Not smaller in terms of listenership, but just we don't have like a whole administrative arm behind us that can run around and do all that stuff. It's going to fall to one of us.
Yep.
2 shows, and basically you have 2 people run the both shows. Mike runs this one, and you run your own.
Yep. And I will flatly admit, it is very relieving to be able to come on this show and be the mooch that doesn't have to put in all the back end work y'all do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, Mike, and like I said before, I sympathize with what you go through running a podcast because I do it myself.
Yep.
It's work.
Well,
and I honestly am very grateful for Hookem for all the editing help he does. So that saves me a bit.
But didn't you get someone to do the technical editing, and then you hand it over to Hookem?
I'm doing the technical editing still. So.
I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we did it. I had her do it once, but that was when we realized that I had all the other issues. So she was a great help because she helped me track down the background noise that was causing a lot of the problems. But I do a lot of the technical editing and then clean up the sound quality and then turn it over to Hookem to take all of Jim's screw ups.
And the editing is a process all by itself.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I remember that from when I did Reloading Radio.
Yep. So. Anyway. Jason, what you been doing?
Nothing.
Morgan?
That was short and sweet.
That's Jason.
He is not sweet.
Well, he's got dust on his press. Look behind him over his shoulder. You can see dust on the press. I'd be ashamed to have that press on camera.
He doesn't look that impressed.
Jason just muted his camera. At least we don't have to look at your face now.
Time for some of God's warm-up liquid.
There you go.
Jameson.
Ooh, that stuff's wicked.
That's good. It's sipping whiskey.
I know. I've drank a few fifths of it.
Oh, by the way, Hookem says Jim's, as in Jim's screw-ups. I think he's implying that there's more than just Jim's.
Probably.
I cannot confirm or deny that rumor. There's just something about Jameson that is so delicious.
I forgot to go onto YouTube.
Yeah.
Have to mute that, though.
So, yeah, I took a little trip. And it wasn't in 1812 up the Mississippi. Got on one of them silly aeroplanes and flew out to Las Vegas for this little show they got. There's this little show that's I think it's called the what is it?
Shooting, hunting, outdoor trade show.
Yeah, that's it. You're welcome, Hookem. Yes, I went out to the National Shooting Sports Foundation's Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show, held at the Sands Expo Center every January, like clockwork. Yeah, it's so one floor is NRA. If you've been to NRA annual meetings and you've seen how big those are, that's one floor. There's 3 more. So I honestly didn't see everything because I didn't have time. I was hoping to do media day, but it turns out no, you have to sign up for that back in when they open up sign up in October, and by the time I signed up it was November already, and it was already taken, so unable to. But I did have a blast. I did get a chance to meet quite a few people, say hi to a few people. And I did some sightseeing too when I was out there on Monday. I went and saw Hoover Dam and stuff, but it was one of those lovely days where the wind was 20, 25 miles an hour. So not exactly the most pleasurable. But I did find out Wahlburgers is pretty good. Yeah.
Who?
Wahlburger.
Oh,
WAHL Burger. It was started by Mark Wahlberg, the actor, his brother Donnie, the actor, and so yeah, I know Loads was there, and I didn't get a chance to see him because I didn't see he was there until Wednesday afternoon. So we'll meet up next year, or if you're at Indy, we'll meet up then. So there was a few people that kind of overlapped. Some people come for the first half, some people come for the second half. SHOT Show is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I think Friday. There's stuff going on, and then Saturday's cleanup. So some people come for Tuesday, Wednesday. Some people come for Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And like I said, I had to fly back on Thursday because I had to be back to work on Friday. So that was kind of a bummer. There was quite a few people I missed that I didn't get a chance to see that I, will try and get together at NRA, or definitely better planning for next year. So it's big, it's huge, it's busy. 7 miles on Tuesday, about 4.5 on Wednesday. So just around the Sands Expo Center. So a lot of walking, a lot of walking. Totally worth it though.
is it as crowded as NRA gets?
No,
Really?
it's crowded, but it's not as crowded as NRA. It's not where you really can't walk between the booths, because
Right.
this is a business show, so the general public isn't allowed.
We found that out.
Yeah. So the only people that are there are going to be media, and they only give out about 1,700 media credentials, 17 or 1,800. And then anybody who's actually involved in the firearms, well, not necessarily the firearms, but the shooting, hunting, and outdoor trade. So that could be camping gear, or, there's military law enforcement type groups there. Let's see, there's, camping stuff, there's, shooting stuff. A lot of it is honestly firearms related, whether that's firearms or ammo or different other things. So, excuse me. But yeah, very busy, but very awesome. Sorry, gotta grab a coat. So, probably my favorite thing was, hang on a second. Somehow I got my headphone cord wrapped around my leg. I guess my favorite thing was probably connecting with friends. So, oh crap, I left something in the house. All right. I'm gonna mute for a second.
Anyway, so what are they talking about over in the YouTube chat? Loads of bacon's on there. Yay, bacon, 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 bacon.
All right. Thanks, Eli. So, Cal wants to know if I'm ready for the -60. No. So, all right. Yes, SHOT has a similar list of all the manufacturers there. I've got a book inside that's got it, and also in their app. Their app is pretty awesome because it allowed me to go through and tag all the manufacturers that I wanted to go see and talk to. And then I could actually, so once I went to one, I could check it off in the app, and then it would give me a map to the next booth. Because trust me, the booths I wanted to go see were not all next to each other.
Yeah, Mike, I wanted to know, when you go to SHOT, the reloading stuff, do they have it all kind of categorized in the sections, or is it just random? Anything goes?
Anything goes anywhere. The only thing that's somewhat categorized is law enforcement. Law enforcement's kind of kind of in one area, but not really. So otherwise, everything else is just pell-mell and all over the place.
So let's get right into it, Mike. What did you see there of interest for us reloaders?
Okay, well, first and foremost, actually, one of my favorite things that I saw is from our good old friend Brian Nixon. And that would be yield Glock slides. So this is something he's gotten together with a business, and they're actually milling and selling not only Glock slides, but 1911 slides, barrels, Glock barrels. I'll put the address in the link or in the show notes for the website because it's different than the 22 LR reloader.
Pardon me, Mike. Mike, pardon me. What's that slide made from?
I don't even know.
Steel? Is it steel or is it surely not aluminum?
I don't remember. It's an alloy. I don't remember what it is. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Is it light like aluminum or is it heavy like steel?
Oh, well, it's not steel. The 1911 slides are kind of heavy, but
Okay.
let's look at my pictures and I can tell you. Where'd it go? I hate my phone sometimes. I posted in Facebook in the reloading room, or not the reloading room, but the reloading podcast page about it.
The page or the group?
Page. Oh, maybe it was a group, or it's just dropped down so far. Mm-hmm. That's just pictures of the. All right. Oh, Tom Peterson was the one that called them Gucci slides because they're kind of a custom deal. So, where the heck did that other thing go? All right. So, lots of cool things I saw. Not a lot of new stuff. I mean, most of the stuff that's out there has been out there. So,
Well, I seen Lineman had a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah,
Frankfurt
Lineman-
Arsenal had a bunch of new stuff.
Frankfurt Arsenal didn't really have a bunch of new stuff. Not that I saw in their booth. Lyman did. Lyman had a couple of things, but overall, not really much. And definitely nothing that was released specifically at SHOT.
Did you stop by the Dillon booth, of course?
Yes. They redid the RL 1050 as the RL 1100, and it's kind of the same machine. So, unfortunately, they shipped it 2 days before show, so the people that were in the booth didn't really have a lot of information on it. So,
I seen some pictures of it, and it looks like it's got a new bearing. It's got 2 swage rods on it.
no, it has a spot for 2 swage rods. It does not
Correct.
have 2 swage rods.
Yep.
You can run the swage rod in either location, but it does not actually have 2 swage rods.
Now, if I was to guess, I actually remember seeing some pictures a couple months back, and I'm going to guess that Immortal Arms was one of the first people to get that Dillon. I can't remember if it was what's the other one, Mike? Their processing one, the
CP2000.
CP2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that stuff is really set up for guys running an ammo bot because that's one of the things with.
Oh, that is a professional press. That is not. That RL 1100 is not a regular guy's press. That is a commercial press.
Neither,
That-
correct.
market is.
The The 1050 was the same deal. It wasn't really for the average guy either, but I think the one nice thing I seen with that dual, or this possibility to have dual or sway draws on either side, is the first one you could have a Primate Pocker sensor on the right side, and then you can actually swage on the left.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thought process for that.
Like I said, unfortunately, there really wasn't anybody that was honestly helpful in the Dillon booth that had information on it. So, which is kind of the problem with that. And I talked to 3 or 4 different people. There was one guy that kind of knew, but he was basing most of the information off the previous existence of the RL 1050. So, I do have a couple of contacts in Dillon that are going to come on later, but nothing currently set up hard and firm for that to talk about those. So, yeah, it was kind of, the Dillon booth had a lot of nice shiny things, and it had most of their stuff, and it had a really cool display. But as far as information on stuff, it really wasn't that handy. Like I said, literally the 1050, the gentleman I talked to about the 1050, they literally decided to send it 2 days before. So there wasn't a lot of information. They didn't even have any literature on it.
That's too bad.
So
I did that new Lyman trimmer looked pretty interesting.
Yeah. Get you a picture of that.
Did they talk about the kind of the price point on that?
No MSRPs were discussed because there's no retail sales at SHOT. So they're not going to talk about MSRPs unless you're actually looking at doing wholesale business.
Correct.
They don't really go into with the media as far as MSRPs on pretty much anything with anybody, is what I found anyway. Talking to a few people, that was kind of the similar response that I got. Where are those pictures? Okay, so I guess those pictures didn't get transferred. Damn, frickin' nabbit. All right. Yeah, so that sucks. So the Lyman pictures are still on my memory card. They were supposed to get transferred. I'll bring up a picture though, because they've got them on the website. And we'll share screen in just a sec. All right. Okay, so what I've got here is Lyman's page showing a couple of the really new fancy things that they've got is that trimmer. Lyman pictures are still on my memory card. There we go. All right, fine. Okay, so this picture here kind of has their new stuff. All right, so here's your Case Trim Express. It's a simple switch out. It's got bushings now to switch out. They have the funnel, which we kind of talked about a little bit, which is also in this picture, which has got the swappable bushings for the case neck. They redid their balance beam scale, so now it's Ambred Extras. So if you're a southpaw and you're looking for a manual scale, no more having to flip around and use your wrong hand to try and use it. That was one of the nice things I saw. The other thing they've got, and they don't have it out yet, so that'll be coming, is they have a brand new press mount. We'll get more details on that when it actually releases, but I just kind of want to give some basic idea. So it's going to be nice when it comes out.
This press mount you talk about, is it similar to the strong mount that goes under a Dillon?
Yeah, somewhat. The only difference is it's not just strictly for Lyman.
Ah, thank you.
Let's see what the video's got. So here's a video from Lyman. And it doesn't look like they do any talking. Yeah, it's just pictures. Okay, so they've got a powder trickler that's a little nicer now. This is their trimmer. The nice thing, the powder trickler's got a couple of different tricks to it. This is the trimmer where it's got the different switch out. Unlike some of the other powder tricklers, that one's actually got a nice big knurled knob on it, so it works a little better. Easier to turn. Here's their press that I was telling about. It's graduated on both sides of the beam, so you can actually spin that puppy around.
You mean scale?
Beam scale. Yeah, sorry. You know, your basic self-leveling with the twist wheel.
I see it's got 500 grain. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, too, I realize for a reloader, 500 grains is a lot.
Here's that.
That's a strong mount. Yep.
Yep. And yeah, Hornady, Lee, RCBS. It is truly a universal. They've got a plate. There comes with two plates. The first plate has a bunch of different holes that are, you know, obviously they're all lined up for the Lyman presses. The second plate, however, is set so you can actually drill your own holes. And this isn't like, you know, some of the stuff out there where it's work hardened steel and you really have to have a serious bit to drill it. This is stuff you can do with a regular, like a.
Mike, what kind of steel you talking about? I completely forgot all about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it really nice quality finish. I was impressed with the different options. You know, they've got a cover now, which everybody has now. Seems like, which is, you know, a cover is a good investment because it keeps the dust off your press when you're not using it. You know, like some people. So, and now I think they go into all the Packmeyer and everything else stuff. So that's all we need for that. So, but yeah, Brian Nixon's has kind of gotten into a whole bunch of different stuff for it. Yeah, it's not reloading related, but it's, you know, we've supported Brian with all his reloading stuff, and now he's kind of advanced, you know, going out into different areas. So now he's got Glock and 1911 parts. He's got the, they've got the Polymer 80 lowers for the Glocks and then all the hardware and stuff that you need to be able to
those
build
those
your own.
polymer. It looks like he has some Polymer 80 parts kits right there. Those are hard to get.
Yeah. So, and then some other goodies and stuff, and some AR stuff. So, and then let's see here. So here's kind of your different things. He doesn't have the 1911 slides on here yet. They're coming. So, and then we've got different back plates and stuff you can get. So, you know, your usual Threeper and Milan Lobby and all that. So, but you know, that's kind of what they're expanding out into. So it's pretty cool. All right. So yeah, the one thing that Frankfurt Arsenal did come out with is basically a blatant ripoff of the Forster Coax. I spent some time talking to the guys at Forester about it, and they didn't really want to comment about it. And I understand why, but looking at the two, it's honestly, in my personal opinion, it's pretty much a copy of the Forster Coax. Haven't seen anybody use it yet to find out if it's actually any good or not. Frankfurt Arsenal, a lot of their stuff's hit or miss. So, but their price points are always good. So, 350 Legend was interesting Basically, what it amounts to is they took a 223, blew out the neck and shoulder, and it's now a straight wall. That's the easiest way to explain it. Different projectile options for it. It's pretty nice looking though. The ballistics on it are pretty cool. So one of the first booths I stopped by was MTM. Excuse me. So this is kind of all of their, we know MTM is, your case holders and stuff like that. So basically what I did is kind of shot some pictures. Nothing really new here. These are new. Ammo belt pouch. So for those of us who reload and don't keep other things or don't want other things, if you want a little hard case to store your ammo in, they've got those now. I thought that was kind of neat. Took a better picture of it. Their shot shell, which nobody really pays attention to, but this is a nice little case. It'll hold 100 shells. It's got the stackable little things here, so it's 25 a pop. A couple other minor little cartridge things. Nothing real there. Kind of took some pictures of the rest, which are important. This is kind of the really new thing. 4-can ammo crate. So for those of us who are packing up ammo to store somewhere, these are really handy. Multi-caliber ammo storage. And you can throw 4 of their plastic ones on. You're supposed to be able to put regular 50 cal cans on here too. And then this is another neat little thing that some people don't know about that I really think is cool. Take your standard 50 cal ammo can. And actually, I think that case is for 30 cal, not 50. I misspoke. The 4-pack. So what this does is you drop this inside your 50 cal ammo can, and now you've got a bunch of little dividers and trays that you can put stuff in. Next up was the Norma booth. So Norma came out with a couple of new bullets. This is their Tip Strike. So it's a little different design on it. We're going to have somebody on to talk about these a little better. A couple different weights. And then the Bond Strike. There's kind of some different bullets. Here's everybody's favorite booth, Reading. There's our friend Robin with a bunch of the other guys. I tried to take some pictures of booths and stuff that you guys aren't going to normally get a chance to see. Obviously, a couple of them didn't turn out.
I had to admit, it was kind of amusing seeing Robin posting on your phone from the Reading booth. I thought that was kind of entertaining.
Yeah. So this is one of the coolest things I found anywhere was the cutaway dies. And
yes,
just so you know, these things cost a fortune to make, no matter who the manufacturer is. But what this is just literally a cutaway of their different dies, and it kind of shows you the inside and the inner workings. And then I just try to take some pictures to try and give perspective on just how huge this thing is. Hodgins booth. One of the cool things that they're doing this year with Hodgdon, and I think I have pictures of it later, is they actually are now going to have a traveling road show. Kind of harkens back to the days when Chris's grandfather had started out with a few of the other heavyweights in reloading. And the gentleman from our CBS, he gave me the names, and I don't remember off the top of my head, and I didn't have a chance to write them down. But he's talking about some of the old, the old guard, shall we say. And what they're doing is they're getting together, and they have a traveling set that you call up, you contact them and say, hey, I want to put a class on reloading. It has to be an NRA certified reloading instructor, but all you need is a place to host it. So they will come out and they will do a class on teaching people how to reload, or they will help you. If you're an NRA instructor, they will help you put on a class. Some of that may be with supplies, some of it may be knowledge, some of it may be working on equipment and stuff like that. But they're really pushing to get the knowledge out there, to get more people involved. So Next up was the Sierra booth. And then kind of some more shots of around. While I was kind of waiting for people to get done talking to somebody, I was taking pictures around to kind of get ideas. That's for CBS. Sierra launched a new app, and it is amazing. So what it is their 6th catalog in an app, but it's beyond that.
What do you mean by 6th catalog?
Their 6th edition.
A catalog per se, or is it not the reloading manual?
It is their, sorry, not catalog, reloading manual. So
it is the reloading manual then.
Yep, the 6th edition. So it's kind of hard to sit here and show on my phone everything, but basically it's the 6th edition reloading manual as an app and then some. But there's more. So anybody who's familiar with Sierra and their load data knows that they weren't always consistent with how they tested everything. Sometimes they would use a handgun, sometimes they would use a rifle, sometimes they would use a pressure barrel. The problem with that, you don't necessarily know how many rounds were through that firearm before you got it to do the testing. You don't really necessarily know, you can't really judge wear as easily. So what they did is they went and redid everything. And they went and redid all of their tests for all of their loads using pressure barrels.
That's a boatload of money, just in R&D.
And they pushed everything to SAMI pressures. They didn't stop when they thought they should stop because of lawyers. They pushed it to SAMI, to as close to SAMI max pressures as they could with loads, and have the data for it.
Mike, what's the app called?
It is Sierra Reloading Manual. I do not know if it's available for Apple yet.
Apparently not.
It's called Sierra Bullets Reloading Manual V6.0. I'm downloading it right now.
They go into ballistics and stuff. Now, to get the full manual and everything, there is a $5 subscription cost for a year, but you can't go buy the manual for $5. And because it's an app, that means they will update stuff as it goes along. So, but I mean, just the data that's in here, just like their regular manual where they go into the ballistics and they have an FAQ section and they have the data section and all that. So this is just the main page for 20 Tactical. Let me stop sharing for a second here. Turn my camera back on. Okay, so this is the main page for 20 Tactical. Now here's the thing. Down here is a slider. Whoops. So down here is a slider. And you can change how fast you're going and different things and get your different data.
Mike, that's actually legible through your camera.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, pretty high quality.
So let's pick something a little more common. Let's go 223 rem and a bolt gun. So we've got, they tell you what the brass is, they tell you what the primer is, they tell you what they trimmed it to. They give you some information on the caliber. And then, so they go the powder and the grains. They tell you what bullet they used. And then there's a drop-down menu where you can actually select your different bullet. So, come on, focus. You can kind of read that. It's getting a bad glare off the screen. But, so, like I want to pick, let's see here. A good old-fashioned full metal jacket, boat tail, 55 grain. And I want to see how fast I can push it. So I can get it moving 3310 using 26.3 grains of Power Pro varmint. So, but I mean, that's the different things that you can do with this app. You can scroll. If you want to go slower, you can back it all the way down. And then the one thing I don't know, which I haven't played around with yet, is it has different asterisks. So I'm not sure exactly what the point of the asterisks are, because I need to figure that out yet. And they do have single shot pistol. They also have legacy cartridges, like the 218B, the 219 Zipper, 300 Savage, most of your military calibers. So the good old 6.5 millimeter Remington mag, 35 Rem, 3040 Krag. So
Those are called legacy cartridges now? Why?
because they're not in common use.
Because they're old,
Okay.
Jim.
I was going to say there's not too many cartridges more popular in the woods of Pennsylvania than 35 Remington, except for 3030.
Well, the problem with 35 Remington, it literally is a hand load only now. You cannot buy ammunition for it, so that's one of the reasons why. But I don't know what their specific determination was for that. So, but then like your single shot pistol, they've got the Hornet and the Jet and the Fireball and some of your rifle cartridges that you shoot it out of a pistol and 45 government or 4570 government, 6mm bench rest. So
The government owns a cartridge?
Yep.
4570? What's
Yep.
that all about?
Big thumping boomer.
You almost slipped.
So yeah, lots of good stuff here. So it's interesting they put the 30 carbine with pistols though. So, but yeah, lots of good stuff here. They give you a breakdown of the different bullets and stuff, and kind of descriptions and what each bullet's good for and not good for and stuff. It's really a good app, especially if you shoot Sierra bullets. So all right.
Did you see any gun celebrities?
Yeah, I don't know what you determine as gun celebrities.
Oh, maybe some of our YouTubers that are popular.
I didn't really have a lot of time to visit with a lot of people, other than if they were at. I went to the Faxon party on Tuesday night, and then the Reloading or the Firearms Radio Network, essentially the We Like Shooting and Gun Funny, and anybody else was there on Wednesday night. Wednesday night, Julie Golub stopped by, Timothy Knight stopped by. There was a couple others. I didn't get a chance to talk to them or anything, but there was a couple of YouTubers there. But I didn't really get a chance to meet and talk with a lot of people because I was kind of focused on what I was doing. So that was kind of the drawback is not being able to spend all the extra time wandering. So
You went there with a mission, and sounds like you succeeded, except for the fact that the place is too damn big.
Yeah. So, this is the RCBS booth. Talk to them. We're working on getting somebody on for RCBS finally. So I actually met with their merchandising manager or their marketing manager, and we're going to get somebody on. Oh, another thing. We kind of mentioned this before, the gas check from Brian at 22 Long Rifle Reloader. This is what they actually look like. So he made these out of aluminum. Just a simple little thing. This slides in the shell holder that screws into the press. And then you just use, copper, aluminum, whatever you want. So that's some more pictures of the slides and stuff. And I think I showed most of these. Oh, that's the Moab base, the minute of angle base that a lot of people are using for longer range. That gives you an extra 300 minutes of angle for your scope. This is another little thing that Brian came up with.
300 minutes?
Or 30 minutes.
You mean 5 degrees?
I don't remember.
Because that's a crazy amount of elevation.
30 minutes sounds a little more rational. If I remember right, my rifle scope has about 38 or 39 minutes top to bottom worth of adjustment. So, I mean,
30,
I'll have to look.
that 30 MOA is half a degree. Whatever. All right, go ahead. Please continue, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
300 minutes of angle.
wow, that's for an artillery piece.
Thank you. I was right for once. Yes.
That's 5 degrees of elevation. That's pretty steep.
Well, when you're going to shoot a mile or longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm about to say that's not even trying to shoot like 800 to 1,000. That's
You probably
impressive.
couldn't. We with that base on there, you probably couldn't hit anything at 100.
You
So-
might not be able to hit anything at 10. Be so far over the top of the target.
Yeah, well, that's that one there. If you're putting that on, you're not shooting at 100 yards.
True.
You're starting at 1,000. So, this is another little thing from Brian and his gurus. So this is a pick rail that goes into your rear sight mount on a Glock. So if you want to put an optic, like if you look at the slide behind it, that has a optic on it. I think it was RMR. I don't remember off the top of my head. But if you want to put an optic on your Glock and you don't want to send your slide off to somebody to get machined, you can buy that. Slides in, locks down, and now you got a pick rail to actually mount. So that's all right. So here's the Dillon booth. That's what I was kind of looking for. Kind of give you the pictures of the Dillon booth here. Lots of blue neon, lots of cool stuff. Here's their electric scale. Excuse me. And their manual scale. So here's the SL900, which is the shot shell press. As you can see, it's a pretty beefy press. You got a 550 here, kind of a base model. That one over there is I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say 650, but I'm not sure. And then over here in this picture, on the other left side of the picture, you got the CP2000, which is their new case prep station. It's based off the same kind of base as the RL1100. And then here is just a brass sorter. So they kind of redid their brass sorter design a little bit. Whoops. So here's a little better picture of the CP2000. I don't know how long it would let me zoom in. But a roller handle. Here's your main bearing. Here's your top plate, and then here's your shell plate that rotates. Yes, Dillon is making those lovely plastic pull tabs now for the pins. So brass feeder and a bucket. And basically, like I said earlier, you can set it up to swage either on the left side or the right side, whatever suits your fancy.
I know that CP2000, also the third station on a 1050 is on the tool head's just a blank hole.
Yeah.
And that one, they actually have a new tool head that's threaded, so you can use that station. And
Yes.
there is no priming done on that CP2000 at all.
No, it is case prep only. Here's your big bad boy, the 50 BMG. Just because I was standing there, I thought I'd get a picture of it. Here's another picture of that basic 550. And then, or no, I take that back. That's dressed up 550.
Mike, a minute ago, you said case sorter. Are you meaning brass feeder, case feeder?
Yeah, brass feeder, case feeder.
Right
You can use
there.
it as a sorter, kind of. But yeah, they kind of redesigned it. And so
Heavier motor, and it's got variable speed, if I remember right.
yes. So this just kind of shows up, you know, like a 550. There wasn't anybody standing around, so I could take a picture. But as you can see here, it's got your tool rack behind it, your bullet case, or your bullet tray right there, and then, you know, a brass there. That's kind of all that. Kind of a couple shots at the Barry's booth. Wow, that's horrible. Sorry, some of these actually look pretty good. Anytime somebody had a bullet and a ballistic gel, I try to get a picture of the ballistic gel so you can kind of see what it looks like. This is what their newer bullets that they were talking about. Looking at different penetration, showing you kind of their new 230 grain hollow point in a different opening stages. So this was the Swift booth. Didn't really have anything new, and they didn't really have anybody that wanted to talk to me. So I just kind of took some pictures and headed off. Here's Travis's new drooling station.
Yep.
Mark 7.
Now, did you notice, Mike, what decapping die they have set up in those Mark 7s?
Mighty. They had a lot of Mighty Armory dies. So, not just decapping. Kind of tried to. I couldn't get any pictures of it running because every time I went to get pictures of the only one they had running, for the most part, was the big bad boy. So, and every time I went to get a picture, somebody was standing in front of it. So I got a side picture, and I wanted to shoot some video, but this was.
Those are so nice. I think that's called they have the Evolution, and the Revolution is the manual. So the picture we're looking at is the Revolution, and you can see in that picture, Mike, they've got built into it a primer collator.
That thing is amazing.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I couldn't really get any nice pictures of it. I think I might have one on the second memory card, which obviously didn't make it over into this set. So I'll have to get that uploaded. I want to try and put descriptions on all these pictures when I upload them. So it's going to take a while.
Yeah, I think you can put a couple hundred primers in that collator, and then it feeds down into that chute.
Yeah. So you take your primer tray, and you see the black square with the gray spot. You take your primer tray and flip it over. Or what most of us would do is actually hold it upside down and then push the plastic out of the paper sleeve and drop them in. No flipping primers. It does it for you.
Now the other cool thing is that powder.
What do you expect?
That powder dispenser, I believe, is digital, where it's kind of programmable.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but they're going to come on and talk. So here's Extreme Bullets. So that there's I've got detail, but I don't have a lot of detail because most of these people are going to come on and talk about their products. So what's the point of me spoiling their fun if they're going to come on? Okay,
yeah,
so
that's awesome right there.
Do you know what that is?
I do.
That is called the Annealing Made Perfect. It uses induction to anneal. So this is the fancy model. This is for somebody that wants to be able to just throw a bunch of brass in and walk away. Throw it in your Dillon brass feeder and walk away after you set it up. It'll automatically feed it in, pull it out, and drop it in your basket.
Yeah, you can watch videos of that running for hours.
Yeah, I mean, just literally lines.
It's beautiful too, the way that they have it set up where it's all see-through and you can see all the moving parts and everything. It's beautiful.
Now, here's the nice thing about this is if you're actually in it for speed, don't get all the extra crap. Just get the main box. The It comes with different. There's different bushings for different size brass, and it's all based off of shoulder, off of sized brass. So obviously, like everything else, you got to size it first. Or actually, no, I take that back. I don't know on this one. That was the one thing I never asked.
I believe it does have some bushings that you put in right underneath that feeder.
Yeah, it's got bushings, but I didn't ask if you have to size it first or not. So don't quote me on that.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I did have to step away for a second. What were we talking about?
The annealing made perfect.
Ah,
It uses induction instead of a flame.
I see.
Very, very expensive though.
It's only $1,400-$1,500.
That's
Just the
not bad.
machine, like not with that feeder unit. It's not.
Well, if you want to be fast, you're not going to use that because you can actually do brass about 4 times as fast doing it by hand than if you use the fancy machine.
Yeah,
That's
you
kind of
look you look a lot
that's kind of-
cooler with that machine.
well, some people. So yeah, like I said, that's kind of the set it and forget it. Just toss it in there, turn it on, and away you go, and it automatically pulls it out. No need to quench. So, is the nice thing about the induction is that it's actually heating. You don't have as much heat transfer because you're not heating it for as long. With a torch, you're usually going to have it in there a little longer to get your desired temperature because, frankly, a torch isn't as efficient as induction heating.
Yeah, and the nice thing, you can dial that into the exact temperature you want.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing little setup. He grabbed some brass and did a demo for a guy while I was standing there waiting for him to talk to him. So we're going to work on getting him on too. That one's going to be a little more interesting because they're in Australia. So here is the pictures of the 350 Legend. So
That looks like Hornady photography.
what's that?
That looks like Hornady photography, but I see the brand name Winchester.
Yep. Winchester is the creator of the cartridge. Basically, like I said, they took a 223 case, blew out the shoulder and blew out the neck, and it's literally a straight wall.
It's a rimless case.
Yeah, it's the regular 223 case.
I see.
So here's the ballistic gel.
Pretty
Interesting.
gnarly looking.
Yeah, lots of cavitation there.
Ooh.
So,
What's the feet per second on that? Do you know? Off the top of your head?
I remember, and then I forgot. I don't know. I've floated that cartridge around with because one of the listeners of my podcast was at SHOT Show, and he shared that with us and floated around, and a lot of guys kind of shrugged their shoulders at it. But I mean, I'm curious enough to look into it.
Well, here's the thing, and a lot of guys don't have to hunt where you have to have a straight wall cartridge to hunt deer. This isn't for them. This is for people like Ohio and other states. Ohio's the one that comes to mind off the top of my head. That you have to have a straight wall cartridge to hunt a rifle. That's what this is for.
And see, I, on the other hand, am not a hunter. I'm that guy that likes weird off the wall cartridges that do stuff others don't do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the simple fact that it is purported to be able to put more energy on target than a 300 blackout within its effective range of engagement, that's interesting enough for me to look into.
Well, 300 blackout isn't really that impressive. Now you're talking about 3030 Win, which is the deer cartridge in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking.
But here's the trick: do they make an AR? Is there any AR you can think of that'll swallow a 3030? No. But this will. I mean, if it uses 223, there's no reason it shouldn't. As long as your overall length is short enough in the magazine, there's no reason this wouldn't come out of an AR.
Yep.
That's kind of the vein I'm looking at. When you compare this to all the other common AR-15 accepting cartridges, this one's an interesting one to me.
Right.
You know, I don't disagree with you that 300 blackout is a little on the weak side compared to a lot of other cartridges out there. But when you constrain that list down to what'll fit an AR-15 without substantial modification, it's interesting. But there's been a lot of interesting cartridges that got overlooked by the mass market, so we'll have to see what happens with it.
Right.
Well, it was just approved, 2 days before SHOT Sammy approved?
Has it already been SAMI approved?
It has, like 2 days ago, 2 days before SHOT Show.
Then I will do more
it's,
research.
it's Winchester factory ammo. He has the photos of the box right there.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they don't want to seem to put any speed specs.
I know I watched an interview. They said this year they're only going to focus on actual ammo, and then next year they'll concentrate more on reloading components. But I know they're talking with a lot of die manufacturers, and there's already several AR manufacturers out there gearing up for the AR platform and etc.
I'm not impressed by the 300 or the 300 blackout or the AAC or whatever, but 35 caliber in that same cartridge. Even I'm interested in that because I've got an AR upstairs, and all I'd have to do would be change the upper.
So only 21 grains of powder.
What weight a bullet?
Well, the 223 cartridge takes about 28.4 grains of WW748, so that's it seems appropriate.
Phil, if I remember right, they have
doesn't give a weight.
They have 140, 150,
150 grains,
180, and up to 220, 200 and something. I can't remember for subs.
But because it's a 35 caliber bullet, the bullet should ostensibly be substantially shorter than what you typically get in a 300 blackout, which is a 30 caliber bullet made for a 308 Winchester, which is a skinnier, physically longer bullet. That alludes to this potentially having a fair bit more case volume for more powder. It's like I said, it's an interesting concept. It's something I'm gonna poke around and keep an eye on for a while. Because it's a lot of people dismiss it and say, well, if you don't need to shoot straight wall for hunting, then what's the point? But my point of view is, to me, the 300 blackout was always a great cartridge for its intended use, but that was shooting subsonic suppressed ammo out of an AR.
Exactly.
But when you put it into the supersonic realm, it's not as impressive compared to everything else that's available. This kind of looks like bridging the gap between what a 300 blackout super will do versus some of the bigger, heavier cartridges like 458 SOCOM, 450 Bushmaster, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I'm interested.
All right, so here we go. Excuse me. Okay. So the 145 grain FMJ is 2350 at the muzzle. The 150 grain is 2325. They make a 265 grain super suppressed, which is all of 1060. And then 160 and 180. The 160 is 2225 and the 180 is 2100.
This is all that 350 Legend?
Yep.
Wow.
265 grain suppressed.
Out of an AR, that shouldn't be too bad on recoil.
And no. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it compares to for 300 blackout as far as energy goes, but
give me 10 seconds and I'll give you something. What was the speed on those 180 grains? Or give me grain weight, and I'll give you a comparison to 300 blackout based out of the Hornady reloading manual.
Hang on a second.
One number I heard him say was 180, Phil.
Okay, you remember what the speed was?
No.
Well, I can tell you that per Hornady's
All right.
per Hornady's data, the fastest advertised speed you're going to get out of a 300 blackout with 180 grain bullets, 1,800 feet per second, and most of those loads are closer to 1,600.
2,100.
See, that's a substantial enough speed increase that
1762 at 100.
Mm-mm.
Muzzle energy on that 180 grain of 1762.
I might need to look into one of those.
That, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a hog destroyer.
Amen.
But I guess that's my point. You know, I mean, I've had a soft spot in my heart. I've wanted to build a 458 upper for a while, but then I've looked into like some of the other like obscure Wildcat stuff. Like I think it's called like 357 Yeti or 358 Yeti. That's on the same idea of the biggest cartridge we could stick into a single stack into an AR magazine, but using a smaller, narrower, lower grain weight bullet to get more velocity out of it. But this thing, that's got me interested.
Yeah,
'Cause-
looking at it, and I spent a little time looking at it, and just the numbers on it, if they're even, so if you figure, 5% plus or minus on the numbers, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So, not only is that a hog killer, but that'd be lethal on whitetails out to, they say that it's a 250-yard cartridge, but when you're looking at the ballistics and the drop on it, it's 300. So
Still 250, 300 yards to put that much energy on target.
out of an
I'll
AR,
I'll keep an eye on that.
300 yards is an impossible shot in the woods. But in the open fields like we have here in North Carolina, 300 yards is doable.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, sorry to hijack the conversation, but that was like, of all the stuff, and I am that person that really turns my nose at a lot of SHOT Show because I'm just like, I get overloaded with every channel out there putting stuff out there about SHOT Show. But when I saw 350 Legend come across my desk, I was like, oh, really now?
Yeah. I mean,
It
most of the
just-
stuff that comes out of SHOT is vaporware for the most part, or
Which
stuff
is-
that we'll never afford. So,
Which is probably why I kind of lose interest in a lot of it.
Yeah.
But that, on the other hand, I mean, like I said, to me, I'm waiting to see if the market embraces it because I've seen lots of really interesting, I thought, innovative cartridges come and go.
Yeah.
And they just never get traction. They never go anywhere. And they don't start as vaporware, but they become that.
well, I think the reason that this is going to hang around is there are quite a few states that have the straight wall cartridge requirement. And frankly, chasing whitetail is still the single biggest adventure in this country as far as firearms are related, other than target shooting. So if you're going to cater to something, catering to whitetail hunting is something huge.
Mm-hmm. See, I think that I see that and I think home defense cartridge from hell.
Right. Especially the suppressed one. 265 grain hollow point. Yeah. Suppressed.
That's a boatload of hurt.
Right.
At 1080, 265 grains, that's going to leave a permanent mark.
Yep.
Well, I mean, think about it. 45 ACP out of a handgun, you're talking about 230 grains at 800 feet per second.
Uh-huh.
So tack on 30 grains in a couple hundred feet per second.
And a lot quieter.
Yeah. Because you ought to be getting full powder burn inside of, 10 to 11 inches.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that will be on Phil's look into list.
Yeah. I think Mikey just figured out what his next AR build is going to be.
Unfortunately, I already have an AR building process that is not getting done because of funding.
Yeah, that's why my pistol's sitting over there not done yet. So, but hopefully I'll get my Glock done here in a couple minutes or in a couple while, since Travis sent me a few parts I needed, and then I got the slide now. So, well, hopefully get that done sometime before NRA. All right, so NRA is Indy this year. It's last weekend in April. Is anybody planning on going? I know Jim's not. How about you, Phil?
Say it again.
NRA, end of April.
Won't be going.
Okay.
I've honestly, with all the turmoil getting turned loose in my workplace, the things I have on my schedule is all that's going to be for this year.
Exactly.
If I hadn't already committed to do it as of like December, it's been sidelined.
Yep. Understandable. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring that's probably I'm going to be the only one because it's close to me. So I mean, it's 5.5, 6 hours driving.
That's the other problem with being on the Gulf Coast down where I am. I mean, something's got to be within a reasonable distance, because anything that's in the middle of the country is just automatically a 12 to 14-hour drive for me.
Right.
Or worse.
Right. So. I'm not sure where it is next year. So. I have to figure something out. Figure out a way we can all meet somewhere. Hey, let's all meet at the Hornaday factory,
Where's that at?
Nebraska.
You're a funny man.
Alan Classic would be glad to have us. He'd probably find us lodging.
Quick, let them know we're coming. Anyway.
Yeah, meet up at the Hornaday factory, huh? That's a good
Right.
one. Grand Island, Nebraska, because he delivers there once in a while.
So yeah, every once in a while he posts something in the reloading room about, oh, stop by, I got some seconds. Yeah. So yeah, look over the next couple of weeks and I'll get those pictures up as soon as I can. Work's a little busy at the current moment because frankly I'm the only one who does my job. So any of the stuff that I didn't do, any of the stuff that needed to get done while I was gone didn't get done. So I'm still trying to catch up. Some of that's after hours work. So, but I'm working on that as amongst everything else. So I'll get the pictures up. I mean, if you guys want, I'll just throw them all up and you can figure out what the heck they are. So, but otherwise, that's kind of thing. Sure, Jared, I'll pick you up on the way.
That's right. Jared lives in Iowa.
Yep. So I'll swing by, pick him up. We'll go hit Brownells and then go to
Okay.
Hornaday. It's a road trip. So
Big road trip.
So yeah, that was my week. So
You had
I'm
more
jealous,
fun than I
Mikey.
did.
Maybe next year. I'm jealous, so I got to tell you, buddy.
yeah, it was a blast. It was a lot of work and a lot of walking, but it was a blast.
Yeah, I knew your dogs would be barking by the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's anything at all like NRA, it's by the time third day I was in pain, severe pain.
Yep. There you go. So yeah, definitely gotta be prepared for it. So, but yeah, so that's about it. I guess the one thing I can say is, other than that, as far as things go, is some we'll have in between now and NRA. Some of them we won't because they're still busy getting ready for NRA. But we'll try and get people on as many as we can as soon as we can to talk about some of this stuff. So, Travis says he's going next year just to hit up all the buffets. I didn't step foot into a single buffet. So Travis will have to do that together. Make them cry. So, honestly, it was a few things here and there, that type of thing. And yeah, I know you're not joking, Jared. So, Keith lives about 50 miles from Hornaday, so we'll be swing by and. Oh, now Hookem said he's going to come pick me up. Oh my God. Valium, please.
Gonna need something for value for alcohol.
Valium and whiskey. Lots of whiskey.
Johnny Walker, black.
No, I've got to become a Scotch fan. Currently, I'm not. So
No, I know. I'm just talking about because we know that that's Hookham's drink of choice.
yes, although I guess you're supposed to not start off with a frog as your first scotch. So maybe I should go drink some Cutty Sark. Anyway.
I like my rum.
Yes, you do. I like all sorts of alcohol. That's a good thing.
You mean you like the way the alcohol makes you feel?
No, a lot of it I like the flavor of. I do not like the flavor of this. This is nasty.
What is it?
Malort. It's from Chicago.
That's off to a bad start to begin with.
Yeah. So anyway. So yeah. Not really much else to cover at the current moment. So, like I said, we'll get people on. So, Bruce in the chat said store-bought liquor tastes like taxes.
Good one.
Yep. Sorry, I don't have room for a still out back. But
Actually, we're not allowed to distill our own, even for personal use. You're not allowed to concentrate the alcohol. Yeah. Not allowed to concentrate the alcohol in homemade wine. You're not allowed to put your bottle of wine in the freezer, freeze it, scrape the hole in the ice, and pour the alcohol out. You're not allowed to do that.
Sidebar: I saw something sent to me one time. It was from back during the Prohibition days, and it was a can of grape juice concentrate. And it had, do you know where I'm going with this, Mike?
Yep, I do.
It had a part of the label where it explicitly said once you reconstitute it with water, you were not to leave it like sitting at room temperature for more than so many days because then it would actually turn into wine.
Yes.
And I reposted this on my podcast and I said, so what I'm reading from this is like an 80% lower for wine.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Anyway, sidebar.
You know,
You got me
we all
thinking
know
about
winemaking is legal. It's just distilling it, concentrating the alcohol in it without paying the taxes is what's illegal. And Uncle Sam don't play when it comes to tax money.
Nope.
Yeah, that's why the last time we made homemade wine, we did it in Iraq. That's another story.
Oh, sounds like you guys made Pruno. Pruno. Yeah, that's what it's called. Pruno. From Bread and Fruit Cocktail.
Anyway.
Wait a minute, this is a reloading podcast, not an alcohol distillation podcast.
Yeah, if we're going to do that, we got to get Weird Beard on.
Okay.
Anyway. So, yeah. SHOT Show was amazing. I definitely need more time. No doubt about that. Definitely need more time. I wanted to have the ability to be able to do some live stuff from the floor, but I didn't have the ability because of time constraints. So, and by the way, yes, there is ways you can legally make your own alcohol for personal consumption, just so everybody knows. But anyway, I digress. That is for a different podcast, not ours. Here we talk about hand-making ammunition. And I'm really excited to see the new mount from Lyman, to get that and try it out. Hornadays got a mount too I want to look at and see what the possibilities are of it being a universal mount. Hornaday actually markets it for their presses and their presses only. As opposed to the Dillon and then that Lyman. Lyman's actually even taller than this strong mount. So, here's the strong mount. This is a Samsung Note 8. Give you a kind of about the same size as one of the bigger iFails. To give you kind of a perspective. So, or here's the Glock slide. Give you perspective. And that Lyman is actually taller than that. So, it'll be interesting to see.
Sounds like you can set the Lyman up on a regular table, not a workbench, but a regular table, and it'll become tall enough to be tall enough to reload at standing.
Probably. Oh, speaking of tables and stuff, Mac actually has a mount now too. That was the other thing I forgot to mention. I just stopped by the Mac booth, talked to Sean, and he says their metallic press is just continuing to go like gangbusters. Jason, how do you like yours?
I like it. It's good. The only problem was that weak spot I was telling you about that my buddy broke.
Yeah.
But I didn't really grill him on what he was doing at the time, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But mine's working fine. I think for the money, it's a heck of a bang.
Yeah. So. Yeah, everybody I've talked to that's used one really likes it. It's great quality. So, and like I said, Mech's now got a universal press setup too for their shot shells, and it also works for their metallic. So, everybody's finally getting on board with what Lee's been doing for years. Interchangeable press mounts. So, but yeah, that's kind of all I got for now. I want to take time to thank everybody who sends in emails and questions and voicemails and texts. Voicemails and texts go to 608-467-0308. Emails to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. Or if you're at firearmsradio.tv/reloading-podcast, you can put a question at the show notes. And that comes to me also. So appreciate all the questions, everything. We've got some to go through, but we wanted to get through kind of a brief SHOT Show recap. Like I said, I didn't really dive in deep because I only had 2 days and I had a lot of people to visit and a lot of people to talk about getting on the show. As I was explaining to a couple of them when I was kind of pitching on the idea of coming on the show, they can explain their product a hell of a lot better than I can. I can go ahead and read literature. I can go ahead and study their thing. I can even use their products, but I still can't pitch them as best as they can. So that's why I want to get people from the manufacturers on to actually talk about the products. Abe said inline fab makes the Ultra mount in several different heights. So they've got if I remember correctly, a 4, 6, I want to say an 8 and a 10 different heights. So, that works well too. And inline fabrication makes some amazing stuff. We're going to work on having them on again sometime in the near future too. They're on the list because they make some amazing stuff. They make a whole crap ton of press accessories, not just the strong mounts, but they make lighting systems and some other stuff, some pretty cool stuff too. So, but anybody got any shout outs? Going once, going twice. Sold to the man with no hair. I just want to thank all the Patreons. Patreon funds helped be able to get me to SHOT Show this year. So that was an amazing thing. Thank you for that. Thank you for the ability to do that. And by the way, Mark, no, they are not having any plans on making a pistol caliber carbine in 10 millimeter from Ruger. So that was one of the questions that I was asked to go check on. So, but yeah, lots of cool stuff out there. Definitely got some cool stuff coming. So, a lot of the powder companies that were out there, I'm talking to about coming on too. So it's going to be some cool information coming up in the near future. So make sure you tune in. And on that note, keep your brass shiny.
Be an asset, not a liability.
It's not a matter of if, but when.
Buy it cheap and stack it deep.
And squeeze, don't yank that trigger.
Thanks, folks.